Good afternoon, everybody. This is Troy McLean, the CEO of GIN, and welcoming you guys to a wonderful, fantastic, and terrific audio update call. Happy holidays to each and every one of you. I hope that you're listening to this intently, and I hope you're listening to this from beyond the obvious, as you know that I always say, because if you're hearing my voice, you're hearing excitement. The reason I'm excited is I just got back from Ed Foreman's Success course. What an amazing course. And what a reminder to all of us as members that we are active students towards greatness. We're active students to achieve better in life. Ed Foreman introduced me to a book that I've read many times over, but I got to read it from a whole new perspective. And it's James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. And that should be the topic of this week's audio update call. Let me just give you a quick quote from James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. And let me invite each and every one of you to go back and read it again. But after reading it, apply the principles. As we're rolling into this holiday season, think about this quote. A man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intellectually cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless seeds will fall therein, and will continue to produce their kind. That is so poignant to what we've been teaching and preaching and practicing. Yes, I went to Ed Foreman's course as a student. I was there amongst family. I was there amongst friends. I was there amongst members. But I was there as a student to continue to learn. And this is exactly what I've been talking to each and every one of you about. None of us are so great in our own mindset yet that we can afford to stop practicing. We have to continue to be a ravenous student. Blaine Athorn was the one that brought me there. Thank you, Blaine. This is me practicing the principles that Ed has asked me to do. I'm publicly saying thank you. I was busy. I didn't want to go. I was cold. It was freezing out there. We're flying all over the country again, and we're moving into the holidays. And Blaine kept telling me, Troy, you need to go to this. Troy, you need to go to this. He finally called a personal favor and said, you said I can have one personal favor, and this is the favor I would like to call. And I thought to myself, there's worse favors that people can call. Blaine was such a good friend that he was willing to call that personal favor to improve my life. And it did. How good of friends are you with the person next to you? With the person behind you, in front of you, beside you, next doors, neighbors, down the street? How good a friend are you if you're not inviting them to this way of thinking? If you're not inviting them to this club? How good a friend are you? Blaine saw it in my eyes. He read it in my thoughts. I was getting tired. But I left that so energized. So energized. There we are, 60, 70 of us. We're getting up at 4:30 in the morning. We're doing homework assignments. And the outward thought is, why do I want to do this? But the better meaning is, why wouldn't I want to do this? By the way, I want to give a big shout out to Sophia. Thank you very much for keeping me on task. Sophia was a fine young lady, or is a fine young lady, who was there the whole time, front row and center, the whole time going through the principles, practicing the success principles. And she will be a future GIN leader. I know she will. So Sophia, thank you very much for calling me. You're my partner. And she called me the first week and said, hey, are you staying on task? So from Blaine to Sophia to you. How many of you are calling on your partners and giving them this gift of giving? Because as a man thinketh, well, that's what he becomes. Mind is master. That's what the book says. The mind is the master. So if we think positive thoughts, positive things happen. If we think negative thoughts, negative things happen. And those were the principles that this club was founded on. And those are the principles that are moving this club forward. I'm excited to tell you that we're still rolling forward with the Saturday events. December 6th, Blaine Athorn is going to be in Chicago, Illinois. December 6th, Blaine Athorn is going to be in Chicago, Illinois for a free Saturday training. Keep in mind, Blaine just got back from Ed Foreman's training. So he is energized. He is motivated. And he's going to share his training, building your success momentum. He's going to cover things such as how to finish the year strong and launch into 2015 with the magic of momentum. He's going to cover things like learn to master the thought, the action, and the principles of your greatness. Thought, action, and principle. The TAP principle. He's going to teach you, your friends, your family on how to get on the map, how to learn to create personal action plans. Personal action plans. He's going to talk to you about, make sure you know your score. What is your score? SCORE stands for success, communications, organization, relationship, and evaluation. Who wouldn't want to know this? This is what our Success Club is about. Even your owners of the club are students towards greatness. And if there was ever a favor to call, think about Blaine. Blaine's favor didn't ask me for money. Blaine's favor didn't ask me to fix a roof in his house, tune up his car, not that I could. He asked me a favor to better myself. And that falls right into our principles of the best way to get ahead is to give back. I'm going to be doing a Saturday training December 6th in another location, Seattle, Washington. If you're within 500 miles, you should show up. The favor that Blaine asked me to do to better myself was a gift to all the members, because now I'm energized. Now I'm refocused. I'm retooled. I'm ready to go. And I'm going to be talking about the principles of IQ versus EQ. IQ, emotional quotient. Quotient just means test. And far too long, we've based superiority, we've based income, we've based status on somebody's IQ, which is their intelligent quotient or testing their intelligence. Well, intelligence quotient is a test that was designed in the 40s. It's gender biased, it's regionally biased, and it's racially biased. It was designed to test your math and grammar skills, and that's it. And far too often, people overlook EQ. EQ is your emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence is your ability to have self-awareness, social awareness, and your ability to read yourself and the person next to you in order to find common ground to move a mission or a purpose forward. And I'm going to be talking about that. And we're going to be digging deep into how do we find our own emotions? How do we identify what triggers us? What drives us? How do we learn how to read the crowd and read ourselves so that we can improve our emotional intelligence. By the way, emotional intelligence can be improved over time. It can be practiced over time. IQ, after the age of 25, it's locked in. It is what it is. You can't change that. EQ can be increased, can be improved, so that you can master relationships. Relationships with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, your brother, your mother. Or business relationships. How did I, on the first season of The Apprentice, have the lowest IQ ever tested, and yet map my way all the way through to make it to the finals? Well, I did that through having a great EQ, emotional intelligence, tested through the EQ, the emotional quotient test. December 6th, if you're close to Chicago, first of all, thank Blaine. Thank Blaine for motivating me. Thank Blaine for giving me the gift that was to myself. If you're close to Seattle, Washington, December 6th, come on over and see me. We're going to be going through this all-day training. We're going to learn how to master our minds. We're going to learn how to create momentum for 2015. And then we're going to ask you guys to give the gift forward. Do what Blaine did this holiday season. Ask a favor. Ask that favor that has to do with improving oneself. Ask somebody, have you heard of the club? Because it's time to start being proud. I don't know if you guys attended Chris McGarahan's class in Ottawa, but Chris traveled all the way to Canada, and it was full. It was totally full. He put together a star-studded performance because he was re-energized. He was re-energized through the principles and practice of our teachings. And he had a new thought process. He had a new look on life, just like I did through Blaine. And he was able to deliver this performance from a new set of eyes. Because we all need that. We need to be revamped every once in a while. We need to be re-energized every once in a while. And you guys need that too. And we're going to continue to give these training courses. We're going to continue to give this information. We ask that you give that gift and give it forward. As far as the webinar series go, we've got some amazing content. We got Tanya Ingram, who's going to be talking about alternative medicines. Tanya Ingram talking about alternative medicines for health and fitness. We've got another webinar that's coming out. Michelle Arbro. Some of you remember Michelle Arbro from the Power Up Live series in Los Angeles, California. This lady is incredible. She worked at Goldman Sachs as a credit analyst, as a number analyst. If you've heard of Goldman Sachs, you know they hire the best of the best. She worked at Goldman Sachs for so long that all she saw was numbers. And she couldn't figure out why. She started dreaming in numbers, not in pictures, but in numbers. So she decided to go on a self-discovery journey of numerology and is now the numerologist to the celebrities. And she has an amazing webinar that she's done for us on the science of numbers and how they apply to your life. What do they mean? Whether it's Tanya on the webinar series, Michelle on the webinar series, myself, Chris, Blaine, on the tour of the live events. This information is valuable. This information is worth sharing. So this holiday season, make sure you give the gift that holds the most value. And invite someone to come to the December 6th events that are in Chicago or in Seattle. Invite someone to watch the webinar with you. Someone that you know would enjoy an uplifting moment, would enjoy the roadmap to success. This holiday season, make sure you give the gift of giving. Make sure you hand out a big hug to each and every person that you love. Again, make sure that you give the gift of giving and you hand out something that is valuable. Last thing I want to remind you is when you listen to Blaine Athorn's audio update, he talked about sending in your 2-minute testimonial. And I think that's so valuable so that we can hear it. Again, I just got out of Ed Foreman's thing, and we need to say to ourselves these affirmations. These affirmations. I'm terrific. We need to say that. I'm terrific. I feel great. I'm worth it. Because you are worth it. So these testimonials are not for us, they're for you. So I invite each and every one of you to feel good now. That 2-minute testimonial, grab your smartphone, record yourself saying good things about you, from you. Send those into us. Send those into our Facebook page. Put them on a YouTube link. Send them to me personally if you want. Send them to Troy at troymcclain.com. Send them to the headquarters. Send them to our YouTube channel. But make sure you send them. Make sure you do a 2-minute affirmation to yourself. You're doing great. You feel great. You feel good now. You think positive because positive things are happening all around you. You're growing because of your training. You're growing because you're practicing. You are great. You are great. You are great. So send those testimonials in, not for us, but for yourself. Have a happy, happy holiday. We look forward to continuing to deliver a strong message, a strong belief system, and practice makes perfect. Happy holidays, everybody.